What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Riders. We are a Kamen Rider review, a podcast, and today on the show we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gavv, episode 33. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined as always by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
Josh, I have a tale that
A tale as old as time.
as old as time, as old as me.
I'm the beauty, you're the beast. Go on.
As the river flows gently to the sea. I have a story that would either match or top the last time I told you a birthday story.
Okay.
And this one's possibly a little easier to read into and solve the ending yourself. But I have to share it anyway. So last year, or not, 2 years ago at this point, one of our earliest podcasts, or close to, I told you a wonderful story about going out for a birthday dinner and ordering a whole market fish and not knowing what it meant, and my adventures with Tom the waiter that night.
One of the classic stories here on the show. Yes.
So that was 2 birthdays ago. I feel like last was uneventful, but this time, so I went away to Farm Sanctuary. I've mentioned it many times throughout the years on the show. I'm there probably entirely too much, but that's okay. I've also recently mentioned wood chopping, chainsawing, putting my hands in things.
Yep.
Quite a bunch of times as well. So all of the wood from the past wood chopping was used to go up to the Farm Sanctuary this time. So their day.
It's BYOW at the Farm Sanctuary.
It is.
I didn't
Or I
realize.
can buy some from the store.
Oh, okay.
Or I can try to grab some out of the woods. But this time I was like, I can save myself $10 a bundle
Yeah.
of wood if I just murder my own trees and then bring the wood to the thing. So over the past couple of weeks, I've had the wood out in crates and bins outside, drying nicely. There was a bunch of storms right before I left for the farm. So I was like, oh, I'll put the wood in the garage, keep it dry. My caretaker helped nudge me towards that direction. I was like, that's a decent idea. We'll do that. So the day of the trip, left the house at like 9:30, packed up all the normal belongings, blankets, towels, clothing, threw all my little crates of wood in the car, and away we went. So Josh, the trip up to where the farm is probably about an hour and a half.
Okay.
Mix in with that, the dog goes to daycare, which is a half hour away. So that's 2 hours. And the day that we drove up was one of the only nice days of vacation because I can't help the weather and we're basically going into a mountain range. So I was like, okay, if this is going to be the nice day, we might as well go to all the outdoor places first, see all the nice spring, summery sights, have a good time. So left at 9:30. By the time we pulled into the Farm Sanctuary itself, it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll call this about 6 hours. So get out. The owner was there. I said hi to her. She was like, oh, happy birthday. Good to see you, blah, blah, blah. So bullshitting a little bit, go look at the way the place is set up. There's like a lower level and a higher level, but it's really just like elevation wise. Down at the lower level was a bunch of animals. So got out of the car, said hi to her, talked to all the animals. She was like, okay, see you guys later. Happy birthday, blah, blah. So she drives away on her little ATV. I'm like, okay, no big deal. We get in the car. Caretaker's like, hey, can you grab my charger out of the back of the car? I say, sure, no problem. Put the car back in park. Get out of the car. Go to the passenger driver's side door. I open the door up, Josh, and there's a motherfucking snake sitting on top of the wood pile in the back of my car.
Jesus, what? So we just rode there the whole time?
So I'm like, what the fuck? I start laughing. I yell. Everyone's out of the car. We're all freaking out. Like, what the fuck do we do with the snake in the car? I'm thinking about it. I have no idea. The snake slowly decides that he wants to get off of the wood pile that's in the car and climb into a blanket that's in the car.
Oh, no.
And now I'm like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing here. Like, I'm yelling, I'm laughing. The caretaker or the owner of the farm, whatever you want to call her, she knows I'm terrified of snakes, and she's joked around with me about it in the past. She's like, oh, I love little snakes. They're adorable. I'm like, you're one of those people that are a nightmare.
Yep.
Like, we joke around about. So I text her immediately, and I'm like, Amy, there's a motherfucking snake in my fucking car. And I put like a crying emoji and a laughing emoji. And I text her twice, and she wasn't responding, but she was responding on the whole way up.
Please help.
And I'm
Please
like,
help.
It's basically, I'm like, I'm a baby. I need your help. Where are you? Where are you? So we're watching the snake climb around. We're watching the snake go in the blanket. I start like climbing around the farm to try to find like anything to try to like lure him out of the car, basically.
Uh-huh.
I can't find anything. We're screwing around. Eventually, he decides I'm gonna go hide again, and like climbs back into somewhere in the car that I'm not really 100% sure of.
Oh
But
Jesus!
like he
Worst
retucks
case
himself.
scenario. Okay.
So I'm like, oh my God, fuck this. So I'm kind of laughing. Amy eventually comes down. She's like, she starts laughing and she's like, only you. And I'm like, yeah, I know only me. I was like, this is exactly what always happens. But I was like, what do I do? And she's like, where is he? And I said, I don't know, like somewhere in the car. So while I'm talking, I'm gonna send you the two pictures.
Oh,
And
I
then
hate
you can
this.
put these in the
Oh my God.
video version of the podcast. But like, so the first one right on top of the wood pile, second one climbing into the blanket, probably wants to be comfortable, whatever. So Amy's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, drive my car. I was like, do something. So she says, okay. She's slowly digs through. She's like, oh, again, I love snakes. No big deal. I'm like, you're crazy. Laughed about it. Eventually, we kind of settled on he probably climbed back into one of the wood crates. I drove up to the cabin real quick. She followed me up, and she was
So you
like,
got
I'll
wait,
unload
you
the car
got
for you.
back in
Don't
the
worry.
car
I
before
had
the
to.
snake got out?
Yeah.
Dude, if this is me, let me pause real quick. If this is me, that car is just it's just the snakes now. I it's not mine anymore. As long as
That well,
there's a snake in it.
that's basically what I thought. And like, it's kind of hard to tell from the picture, but the crate was basically behind the driver's side, like behind my head in the car.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I would just like, if I actually would just like reach back and grab from like my bag, I probably would have touched it or I would have scared him. And then I thought about it and I didn't look in the back at all. I don't think the entire drive. So I don't know when he decided to come out, but at some point in like the 6 hour cruise in the warm and then cold and warm and then cold car, he must have got tired of like, why do I feel emotion?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
it's too hot, too cold, whatever. And the crazy thing is, so first of all, I shook the wood crates before I put them in the car. Because in my brain, I was like, just in case there's spiders or snakes, I'm going to shake them out. And for whatever reason, it didn't work, which I guess I probably scared him deeper when I shook it. That's on me, I suppose. But then I really thought about it. And not 2 years ago, but last year, we went to the farm around my birthday. That was when I found out about how many snakes were at the farm and that Amy loved them and that I was afraid of them. So it was a big joke. We got home that night. I opened the garage door and there was a baby snake that I wasn't paying attention close to the garage and I scared him into the garage.
Oh my God.
So I was crunching the numbers today because Amy was like, oh yeah, like the snake seems older. It's not a baby. Like it was a decent sized snake
Yeah.
you see in the picture. So then in my brain, I'm like, it took me a day or two to think about it. I was like, last year, did the snake ever actually come out of the garage? Because I left the door open and walked away. I was like, on the house to get him out of here. He's just running farther in. So my new question was, did I actually not pick him up from outside? Did I pick him up from inside the garage when he went safety? And then I took him out of the garage this year back out, or was this just a random different snake?
I love the idea that you might have like been secretly fostering a snake without knowing it.
It's highly
Yeah.
the garage is a fucking nightmare. It's highly possible.
Had it grow for a year. Dude,
Yeah.
snakes are like the thing that I am most afraid of in this world is snakes. And you can logic it out for me as much as you want that like they're not actually dangerous and that they're useful and whatever, but like, oh my God, just the idea, like I had to scroll away from these pictures you sent because I just can't keep looking at them. That's a waking nightmare. That would be, I would burn the car down, I think. I don't know what I would do.
So then basically, the car was unloaded. I asked many questions. I said, like, what are the odds of there being two snakes in this wood pile and not just one? And she was like, that's probably near impossible, just so you know. And I was like, but not impossible. So then I kind of tore the car apart as much as possible. I didn't see any more snakes. I trusted her judgment on there's only one. But then the rest of the time, I had to hear about, hey, did you find the snake yet? Did you find more snakes? Blah, blah, blah. Like a lot of ball busting. To the point that when I posted on Instagram of like, hey, here was the birthday weekend thing, Steve from the business account replied with just a picture of a snake.
Oh my gosh, no.
So I texted her and I was like, you're a jerk. And then she laughed.
I like that you have a bunch of people in your life that would respond to you by saying only you, Toby. I'm glad that you. I'm glad that most people are with you on that.
So it's funny because I do think about that sometimes,
Uh,
and like some of the stories, I know I'm a more active participant in the things starting, but other ones of these stories, like as a broad spectrum statement, like person that's afraid of snakes, ha ha ha, it's funny that there's a snake in the
uh,
car. But like I don't think I actively like asked for this
yeah,
one to lead into this story.
yeah. I don't
Like
think.
it's literally just like an only Toby thing. Like
Yeah,
this would only happen to you. The person we know is terrified of snakes.
yeah. I think that that's fair. Yeah, I don't think you really like invited this one too much. Like people transport, uh, wood in their cars a lot, and it's usually not covered in snakes. So yeah, that seems like a weird freak thing for the most part. But holy cow, it just
Yeah, and that's what I get for trying to save $10. I decided to murder trees this year and put them in my car myself instead of buying them pre-wrapped at the grocery store like a freaking idiot. And this was the lesson I learned. So I'm never bringing my own wood again. I'll just pay the money for the
yep,
convenience of pre-chopped, de-snaked wood.
desnaked. Yeah, we're really like the last couple episodes here, we're really learning things to not do. Last week we learned that I'm never eating fish again. This week we learned to just never chop your own wood, just always pay the $10 and get the desnaked wood. So it's really life lessons is what we're teaching here on the show.
Yeah, like of all the things, like a lot of people come here for the Kamen Rider talk, but I know a lot of people come here too for like, wow, these guys are old, one way older than the other. There's probably lots of good life advice we can catch from this podcast,
Yeah.
and that's why we pretty much do 50-50 every episode.
Yeah. And that's exactly. So how old are we now? What birthday was this for you? If you want to
I
share.
am I am 42 now. This is
42.
supposed to be the year where the magic number of all the answers in the galaxy.
Yeah, life, the
Uh,
universe, and everything.
yeah, haven't really found any yet. Gone into a couple spirals already, which is not anyone's fault either. But
As one does, as one does. You maybe it's at the end of the year when you get all the answers. Maybe you have to go through the full year.
it's like rolling into 43,
Yeah, yeah.
barring any snake attacks in the car or anything. Like maybe by like this time next year, my news story will be like, "Here's the path of enlightenment for everyone. We should never speak in absolutes, but I'm absolutely sure this is what everyone should do and follow my lead."
How cool would it be if the Kamen Riders just became a cult? Like Toby suddenly grows a third eye, and then he's the voice of enlightenment, and we all just follow him. That'd be great.
Even even though you have hair, like if we start a cult, can the logo be like my bald head, but like has like the sun rays like shining off
Yeah,
it kind
yeah.
of thing? Like
No,
make it look real artsy.
I was picturing day one of the cult as you have to shave your head. Like that's how you prove that you're a member.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we're going old school. We're going as basic as possible. Like we're breaking everyone down from the jump.
yeah.
No more hair, no more personality. Throw on your white robes. Pick up your garter snake by the door and hold it and
Well, listen,
talk to it.
maybe I am old fashioned, but I think when it comes to cults, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just do what's worked in the past. Why try to change things when it worked so well? You do the hair cutting off, you do the dehumanizing, eventually you do the Kool-Aid, you do the whole cycle, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to join in on that, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/the Comment Writers. $3 a month gets you into the exclusive Toby cult. You can start picturing now what you might look like without any hair. So think ahead on that. You also, you probably don't care, but you also get access to some bonus content while you're there too. While you're a member of the cult, you can get some bonus content. We put that out every single week. And yeah, check that out. Patreon.com/the Comment Writers. Toby,
If you want to get on the ground floor,
yeah,
like there's a lot of times where it's almost like a pyramid scheme or like a MLM scheme.
yes.
Like this isn't a scheme, but it's kind of like that where like I need everyone to visualize real quick that if you pay the $3 now before the cult's like fully formed, you're at the level 1, level 2, where you only have to pay up once. But if you wait too long, we're gonna be like 6 or 7 tiers deep, and then you're gonna have like a lot of ties to pay up, and like you'd be like behind like 7 people.
Yeah.
And that's not gonna be any fun for anybody.
No.
Like you need to be like one of the people.
Yeah. Yeah. If you want to get to like level 7 Theta Warrior first, you better sign up now. That's really how it works. If you want to go clear, you better do it now. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's how those work.
When we give out the chemis the first day, you can either have like a cool level 10 one and not have to have a dumb combo, or you're gonna be rocking like a bunny parka.
I was gonna say you don't want to sign up in 3 months and get stuck with bunny parka. That's just not what anyone's looking for here.
Or the eraser. I forget the eraser's name. I feel like he was in a bunch of episodes.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be like the eraser person. Like someone's gonna be blinging out with the freaking UFO X or whatever the T-Rex guy was. X-Rex? Right?
X-Rex, yeah.
X-Rex. Yeah, they're gonna be all blinged out with their freaking dinosaurs and stuff. And you're gonna have a freaking eraser. And then you're gonna be real embarrassed for a long time.
I wouldn't be too picky in the chemi choosing. I just want smartphone. I think that's all I want. Just give me
no,
smartphone.
there's no smartphones allowed in the cult.
Oh man.
That's too much of a tie to the outside.
I was gonna play so much Marvel Snap on my smartphone. I had two things I want to talk about before we jump into the episode. I had mentioned in my kid's swim class a couple episodes ago. I think I told the story about this guy who was there, a dad who was there, and he like took his shoes off. I think it's the story I told on the podcast. He had a shirt on, and that first time that just said the word lake on it, which I found so funny. Like it's just nondescript, just talking about a lake. Just says lake. He was back this week for swimming, and he had a shirt on that just said the word seaside on it. I was like, bro, you gotta pick a lane. Choose a body of water and stick with it. Like we're all over the place here. We got lake, we got seaside. What are we doing?
Is there a lake or a seaside or a watered area nearby you that just like their merch just says like lake or seaside or anything like that?
No.
Or is it like this is actually like a very generic?
As far as I could tell, it's just super generic. You know, like the vibe. If you like rent an Airbnb or something that's by a body of water, you'll just see like lake life and stuff like that, signs that say like it's good to be at the lake, like that sort of stuff. It seems like that they just left out all the rest of the sentiment and just put lake and just put seaside. But we're certainly not near the sea in any direction for a long ways. We're in Indiana here. And yeah, there's some lakes around, but certainly not like lake culture in that way, if that makes sense. Like not any lake that would have like merch. So this guy just loves freaking bodies of water. I'm waiting for like next time he comes in and he just has like pretty full bathtub on his shirt or something. He's just like any body of water he's into. Yeah.
I guess ocean's next.
Yeah. Well,
are the sizes going up or down?
We already got seaside. I feel like seaside and ocean are similar.
Is there anything bigger?
No,
the abyss?
I think oceans. I get Earth.
The Mariana Trench.
He goes deep next instead of what?
No, it's just gonna say deep.
Yeah,
it's just gonna say deep.
He's just gonna have a shirt that says like I like getting wet next week or something, and I'm gonna be like, I know what you mean, man. Listen, everybody else thinks this shirt is vulgar. I know you just really love water. I get it.
I can get a lake shirt for only $24.
That is not worth that.
Does his lake shirt have a Great Lake on it?
No.
Or is it literally just
it's literally, again, I can't stress this enough. It was literally just a shirt that had the word lake on it in all capital letters with nothing else.
Gosh, you should counterculture this.
Uh-huh.
There's a website called Captain Woody's Shirts, and this one says I pee in the lake.
Ooh.
And I feel like you can counterculture him with this shirt if you just wear this whenever he shows up.
What do you think this guy would do if he's just taking his kid to swim class and he just happens to be there in his lake shirt, and then I show up in my IP in the lake shirt, and without really saying anything, I just ask for a photo with him? Like, what do you think goes through his mind in that case? I'm like, hey man, can we just get a quick photo? And he just like, his brain connects that he's wearing the lake shirt and I'm wearing the IP in the lake shirt. Do you think he refuses the photo, or do you think he just goes along with it?
I think because the environment and area that you're in, he might nicely play it off.
Yeah,
to not like riot in front of small children. But I think as soon as he sees your IP in the lake shirt and he knows what shirts he wears,
yeah,
I feel like he instantly goes, "This guy's coming at me."
Yeah, I think he knows that I'm the enemy at that point. Like, listen, that is not how we treat lakes in this house. In this house, we respect lakes.
Is there a less offensive than IP in the lake shirt? Like, what's the opposite? Well, like, what's the landy opposite of a lake? Just road, street,
yeah,
parking lot.
What if I just have a shirt on that says like fjord,
I think that's the safer counterculture.
Mountaintop.
Like you just go like Pokemon Red and Blue. They would just do Pokemon Lake and Forest.
There you go. I'm this guy's Gary, and I don't realize it.
Or Red or whatever
the
generation we're
opposite
playing.
is. Yeah, so that was fun. And the other thing I wanted to mention, I wanted to just very briefly, I think, say a few words about Giant Bomb, since we've been talking about that this week. Because it's a thing that our young, impressionable listeners might not even know about exists. So so Giant Bomb, it's a website about video games. It was a website where there had podcasts and videos and stuff, and it kind of imploded this week. We won't go into like the details of sort of what happened, but basically, parent company is stupid and tried to force some things on Giant Bomb, and then essentially people got fired / quit. So there really isn't much of a website anymore. But it had been around for like 20 years. Like, it's been around for a long time. And I wanted to bring it up because, like, there wouldn't be a Comment Riders without a Giant Bomb cast. It's the podcast that like taught me my podcast voice and like taught me what works in a podcast. It's the reason we have 20 some minutes of banter on the show before we get into any actual content. So maybe blame them, I guess, if you don't like that. But it was a very important show for me, throughout my life. And, basically this is my audio way of pouring one out for Giant Bomb. So just wanted to say that out there. And I told Toby already, we're going to wait a year and then buy the name Giant Bomb. So be on the lookout for the new Toby Josh Giant Bomb venture here in a year when the domain comes up for renewal.
Do you think that if we bought it, we could actually do anything productive with it? If ownership aside.
Yeah.
If we were just like, hey, we're giantbomb.com and did gaming videos, this podcast, network of gaming stuff and podcasts and everything else, like, do you think we could remake it back into a thing with the boost of having the name?
Maybe.
Or do you think that just in general that's a dead horse? For lack of a better term, I guess.
I have always kind of thought that you could do something like a Giant Bomb, not exactly, but like a Giant Bomb adjacent, a little bit scrappier than they always did, right? Because they were always going for, pre-pandemic, it's like everyone's in a studio, we're paying for office space, all this stuff. Like, there's a lot going on in a Giant Bomb, but now that was all sort of like pre Twitch streaming and pre like YouTube even really being a big huge thing, pre podcast hosting platforms. Like, there's so many more tools available now that weren't available when Giant Bomb first started that make that type of a venture so much cheaper. Like, you can do all that video for free and just upload it to YouTube, and they had to pay for all that hosting cost and stuff, right? So I think we could get farther on it than you think that we could in terms of like, output and production and stuff. I think we could actually like do a lot of what they were doing in the early days just on our own now. We could recruit more people too. And yeah, I think the infamy of it, of like, hey, these idiots came in and are just pretending to be Giant Bomb, I think would get us enough like eyeballs, and maybe we could win some people over. Be like,
at least in the beginning, like,
yeah, it's got to be some novelty, right? Like, can you believe what these idiots are trying? Like that's kind of fun, right?
Let's call this the ultimate dream fantasy booking scenario.
Okay.
We get the website, giantbomb.com. We start doing things with it. It at least becomes a blip on the internet again. It's not huge. It's just like what Giant Bomb was in the beginning again, of just, hey, scrappy upstarts, this dude's pissed off about life and he's going to stick it to the man kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Do you think that if we get popular enough with it, that we could recruit Jeff back to work for Giant Bomb again?
I don't know, because I've been wondering that. So yeah, for those of you out there that don't know, Jeff Gerstmann is the I guess one of the co-founders of Giant Bomb, and he got fired around like 4 years ago from one of the parent companies that had bought them. They ended up letting him go for a million reasons, probably, I guess. But he's kind of been off on his own doing his own little Patreon thing since then. And I've been wondering since this whole like Giant Bombs exploding thing, if we wouldn't see like him try to sort of do something like bring people into the fold and form a little group, because he always talks about how he likes Kind of Funny and what they're doing sort of with their group. It seems like Kind of Funny Games for him is the like, I guess, prototype of what he would do with a Giant Bomb-esque site today, but he hasn't done it. So like, I don't know if that means that he likes being independent and likes just doing his own thing from home. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't think we have much chance of recruiting Jeff. No.
What if he could stay
at home?
Like right now he streams from his house like every other day.
Yeah.
From the last time at least I looked, from like unfinished, spackled but not painted closet in his house kind of vibe.
Yep.
If he can stay exactly the same, and we're like, we just want you to work here, you just do whatever the hell you want to do. Like, there's no actual bossing here. I think we could get him.
I think so.
I think if we could let him do his slacktivism ways of just like, dude, just sit in the house. I do not care, but just work here so I can say I work with you. I think we could get him in.
I think you'd have to give him like 75% of the proceeds.
Hey, I mean, we can buy. If I'm only buying the freaking domain for like $10, I'll resell it back to him for however much it's worth at that point. He can do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't care.
That's fair. That is kind of what my vision of a site like this would sort of be, is like kind of it would be kind of like a wrestling faction where like it's a bunch of personalities.
Well,
what's that?
It always comes back to fucking wrestling.
It does. Yeah, exactly. It'd be a bunch of people where like they're loosely affiliated. They don't, like they don't do everything together, but like they come together for like big things, so it would be less like a company and more like a wrestling faction. That's how I would run a company like that. Like, you can go do your own streams, but then we'll do like a big stream on Friday together,
Yeah.
It'd be the extended universe is what I would want to build. Yeah, I think that would work.
There you go.
Anywho, yeah.
There's Josh and my future plans over the next couple of years.
There's no chance that they let the Giant Bomb name lapse, but I'm gonna be watching to see if they do.
No, and the dumber things have happened.
That's true.
I think we should for sure actually watch just in case, because even if it's expensive, I would be tempted to buy it just to have it.
Me too.
And even if it does nothing, I'd still be tempted to buy it just to have it.
Me too. Have it and just put up the Batman graphic.
Put Luchadeer.
Yep.
Just put a picture of Luchadeer and let it go.
Luchadeer. I did see that Luchadeer is at Rory's house. So like I got the whereabouts on where Luchadeer is this week, in all the goings on.
So Luchadeer, and then we'll stop Giant Bomb talk because this is probably extremely obsolete for a lot of people. Luchadeer was basically like taxidermied like deer head, like how people mount deer heads on the wall, but they put a Lucha Libre mask on it. So it's both like a video game site with wrestling bullshit ties. So that's of course why Josh and I are concerned about such an item.
Yep. And it became their mascot. They had like, cartoons drawn of it and stuff. Like it is the beloved mascot of the website. All right, Toby, let's jump over and let's talk about Kamen Rider finally. That's what we're here to do.
Speaking of beloved mascots, let's talk about some good cheese.
Let's do that. So this week on the show, we open up and Shoma and Sachika are heading home from finishing a job. Sachika is praising Shoma like, man, you're getting a lot better at this. These jobs are getting quicker because you're getting better. And it's very cute. She treats him like a cute little boy that he is.
He's a good cleaning boy. So she throws him a treat like a puppy. Says, "You did good today, bud."
He's like playing with his cleaning tools in like a really hilarious, cute way. And he sees an empty building that he runs into because he thinks it might be where the agents are collecting the pressed humans. And it doesn't turn out to be the case. But Sachika's like, wow, you're just always on high alert then, I guess, huh?
That's when she throws in the tree.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny. Of like, it's basically crazy. I like again like the even though they're the same age or he's old or whatever. Like the mom vibes of, hey buddy, you're having I can see your anxiety's building. Before you crash out here, have a little snack and calm your ass down.
It's time to pop a gummy. We gotta chill, bro.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
So they have their little gummy eating session. He pops out a gochizo. They're having a wonderful time. Then get we get some views into the Granute world. So in the boardroom, there's an agent who is reporting to Longo, and we find
We made it. We made a new monster first.
we made it. Yeah, a new gochizo, right?
No, the new Granute, all the way in the beginning. The what's her name's dad was like, oh, he really took to the surgery, and they're like, yeah, look, we're gonna set him up with this cool guy body, and he loves treats. He'll be real good.
Oh, was that first? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Magen, I guess is his name. The magnate turned dark confection, addict gets his surgery. I thought that the surgery scene was like hilarious because he sits up and then like he's sort of covered still from like the chest down, we'll say, but he looks down and he's like, "Is this my Gavv?" And then he starts like feeling it. Like, but so you just see him reach below the blanket.
He's
and
like,
"Oh,
"Ooh."
what's going on down here?" So yes, they've made a monster out of Magen, despite the fact that he was already a monster. And yeah, in that case, like Nielv is just like, so anyway, there's some people that we need you to take care of. And they
we got these crews, we got these people, we gotta get out there.
Yep. And yeah, they send him off. However, also in the Grunut world, Longo is just in general very suspicious of what Nielv is doing. So if you remember, we found out that Nielv had created the human form for Lascelles, and Longo didn't know about it. He was helping the president, not helping his own stomach family. So now Longo is like pretty sure that Nielv is trying to like backstab him in some way, or at least like scheme behind his back. So he's trying to keep an eye on him is the vibe through this episode. It's like, what are we doing here? What is this? And of course Nielv does have his own motives, but it's mostly like, seemingly so far, it's mostly like he just wants to do the research. He doesn't super care about the goals of the stomach family. I think he just wants to do his weird, crazy research.
Like it seems like he just wants to do his research / like he wants. I almost take it as he wants to be the boss, and like his way of becoming the boss is, well, if I'm the one that can make the super badass Granutes, if I'm the one that can do all the cool science stuff, like you guys are gonna have to bow to me, kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's setting up for more of that kind of ending more.
I can see that.
Or that kind of situation, not ending necessarily.
Yeah, where he just at some point is just gonna look over at Longo and be like, "No, I have all the cards. Like I'm the one who creates all the stuff. I'm the one who controls everything." I can see that being the case. Yeah.
Like he's gonna walk in with like a Power Ranger lineup of Granutes and be like, "So I got this team now, and we're the sea level kind of thing."
Exactly. And of course, yeah, they send Magen to Earth, and he runs into Hanto. That's the first encounter that we have. Hanto is again still out investigating Shoma's mom, trying to find Shoma's mom, and Magen here is just he's a creepy dude. He's still rocking like basically the same clothes that he had on as a monster. So he's got like tuxedo upper body kind of, but then like these crazy pants, just insane ass pants he's wearing. That are like floral. It's just a whole ensemble going on. He's got like ruffles on his arms, and it's just a crazy outfit.
I was offended that pro researcher Hanto, who has vaguely proven of like he can actually find things and do things, like following Magen, the dude presented super creepy, even in general at first, of like, oh, hey, I bumped into you. I'll show you where you want to go. Oh, I know those people. And it's like blindly follows them. to the point where like when they got far enough away, the Hanto was finally like, yeah, we're miles away from where you said we were going, like in theory. And he's like, haha, you fool. And just like beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, Hanto comes and goes in terms of like sometimes he seems like he's really on it and he's very up on like not getting tricked and knowing when people are tricking him and knowing how to investigate. And then other times he does stuff like this where he just follows the bad guy to a secluded area and gets his ass kicked. I think being a Kamen Rider has made him a little cocky. He thinks he can handle things now. But turns out he cannot handle Magen because Magen is a beast in this encounter. He again is sort of like a Jason Bourne-esque fighter. And he just clearly is much more powerful. He can kind of kick Hanto and like throw him across the whole floor, and he seemingly doesn't break a sweat. He's got these crazy tentacles as well that come up out of the ground. Hanto kind of barely dodges them, but we see those a couple times this episode. That's like Magen's big attack is his like ground tentacles that he sends off.
And with Hanto's stupidity in general, was none of those dumb things where like instead of he was like doing the hero monologuing or like, oh, well, this is bull, I'm gonna fight you, blah blah. And never actually henshined.
No,
or at least he took too long to henshin before he got his ass kicked. And Shoma does the same thing later, and it's one of those dumb, stupid things that I know they're all too smart for, especially. I feel like Shoma at this point, or like Hanto knowing like, oh yeah, you're still a human, you should probably watch. It's very irritating still to me when they're just like, oh, we'll just fight and wrestle around. Yes, I know this thing's a monster from a different planet, but I'll just be human form and try to take a punch and see what happens and go on with my day.
Yeah, exactly. I guess one thing we also didn't mention, but probably is worth pointing out, when Longo goes to visit Nielv is working on a device of some kind. That's what he shows Longo is like, if you want to know what I'm working on, this is it. This is driver I'm working on. I went back and like paused on the actual device, and it very clearly is a toy they've taken apart that almost looks gun-like. I'm not sure. I haven't like looked at any of the toy spoilers coming out, but like it clearly is a toy that we will have in the show. They've taken it apart and they have just placed additional circuit boards on top of it to make it look like it's extra convoluted. He like is pretending to solder. It's great.
I assume they actually just took apart a normal belt driver stomach, whatever we're gonna call it. I just assume they took a real one apart and just like spread out the boards and stuff. I was just like, hey, look, I'm building this in reverse, kind of.
I think they did, but I think they added more because there's a green board and a blue board, and I would think that they would have the same color boards throughout if there were multiple. But and then they added a bunch of gears and stuff in it too to make it look a little bit more fancy. clearly non-functional gears placed everywhere inside the case.
Yeah, I rewound back to that scene, and it's hard to tell. Oh no, it actually almost looks like the stupid axe that Oz had when he was pterodactyl form.
It does, yeah, you're right.
Because there's like teeth. I was gonna say it looks like a gun, but there's two parts in that are disassembled that look like they're like T-Rex teeth or like dinosaur teeth up front when you put it back together. So I feel like it's gonna be like a dinosaur-ish vibe thing. If it's not a gun, it'll be presented close as a gun, maybe an axe kind of deal. But yeah,
believe that
it's definitely a new toy, and I don't see any new toy pre-orders yet, so
no.
I can't confirm.
Well, very exciting. So yeah, that'll come up at some point. But Hanto does get away from Magen. Well, he doesn't really so much get away as Magen just walks away. It's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, he could have killed him there, but he just decided not to. But Magen does reveal in that fight as well that he knows that Hanto is a writer and he was targeting him specifically because of that. Because he was sent to take him out, and he likes his dark confection, so he's going to do it.
Everyone loves those damn treats.
Then we go back to Hapipare. Sachika and Shoma are messing with a giant kite, a giant fish kite, which is great. I'm really loving the vibe of like getting to see like bits and pieces of the weird jobs they get up to. That's been
Ugh.
very fun.
Well, because I mean, all the way in the beginning, the show, at least like the first 2 or 3 episodes, once they were all friends, was definitely, hey, we went to this job and X thing happened at the job.
Yeah,
So there's a nice little nod back to the beginning of when we showed what they did with their free time kind of deal.
it's cool. I feel like a lot of times, shows in general and like Kamen Rider especially are not good at giving people the appearance or the feeling of like being alive, like in terms of that, like that they do things when the camera's not pointed at them. And this show's doing a great job at that. Of like, yeah, they're up to their own little thing, and we might be focusing on Hanto for a little bit, but they still got stuff to do, and they're doing their own thing, and we get to see bits and pieces. That's fun.
Like these two are hanging out over here. We kind of find out indirectly later that Rakia is just eating rocks by the shore.
Yeah,
With his free time, he's just like chilling by the waterfront, like, oh, you guys see this rock? This one's extra delicious. It's kind of shiny. And like that whole part was amazing. Just of like, dude just wants to eat his rocks and chill.
he does. Dude, I read that as he was teaching his pudding gochizos how to find him the most delicious rocks. Because he's like, see this
Oh,
one?
for
It's
sure.
got the marbling in it. He's like teaching them, which is so good. That little scene was maybe my favorite part of the whole episode.
And it's funny that you just like that you use that phrase because now it just clicked. Like that's a good, not so much pun, I guess, but like wordplay, because obviously rocks are marble. But then if it was a steak, it would have nice marbling too.
Yep,
Like
it's
real
really
food.
genius. Yeah.
Yeah, it just clicked. That's awesome.
But unfortunately, behind Rakia, another person walks up and chomps on a rock, and obviously Rakia then right away knows that he's a Granute, and and Magen has a very refined taste. He refuses to enjoy the Earth Rock. He says it has a bad taste, which is also
This
hilarious.
shit's too plain.
But Rakia is someone else that he came to eliminate. He shows it off on his phone that he's there to kill the riders. And yeah, he promptly starts fighting Rakia. And again, he is much stronger than Rakia is in this case.
It's funny. It just, again, just because you mentioned, I wrote it down before, but forgot to say it then. It was weird. I guess it's partially a translation thing, but it didn't sound like it. Where the monster Magen was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get all you Granute hunters," and Hanto says, "Wait, how does he know I'm a rider?" And I thought it was weird that they both, like, he is a Kamen Rider, but it was just weird that like the monster was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are Granute hunters," and it was just, I guess, a weird or like a quirky way to word it, where Hanto was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Kamen Rider. He's coming to find me," and it's just funny just because I feel like they don't say that they're riders a lot in the show.
Yeah.
They just
Well,
say that they're Granutes or whatever.
So this show I think is actually is really good about this because the Granute hunter term is what the Stomach family has applied to them in like a they're trying to intentionally scare innocent Granutes as well. Or not innocent Granutes, but they're trying to intentionally scare the average Granute by saying like these people are out here hunting you, right? So it's a little bit of like a weird propaganda thing that they call them Granute hunters. And then if you remember early on, the Kamen Rider, I think, term came from someone posting on their version of Twitter or whatever. Because remember early days,
Okay.
it was like, oh my God, I got another sighting of the Masked Rider. Like people
Yeah.
were talking about it on Twitter. So like I think we're supposed to believe that they adopted the term Kamen Rider from that as a means of like not applying Granute Hunter to themselves.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's just cool. I like that, like a little bit of world building there. In this fight with Rakia, we do get Magen henshins. He is he's Bitter Gavv again. It's the same form we saw before. And he's very strong. His henshin's really cool with the cookies. I don't think we saw the whole like cookie explosion the last time we saw Bitter
I
Gavv,
feel
but I might be wrong.
like I feel like it wasn't like a rack of cookies, or but Oreos come in or like Chips Ahoy and stuff. I feel like it looked more like the batter or something with it actually baking in the oven
Yeah,
more than it being a rack of cookies exploding and going crazy.
that sounds familiar to me. Yeah, I'll have to go back and double check. But while Rakia is fighting Magen, Shoma and Hanto and Sachika are sort of figuring some things out because they're questioning Hanto when he shows up, having been beaten up. And basically, they figure out because he had a black Gavv, that really there's only one person who could have been responsible for this, and it was Nielv. And they realize if Nielv is responsible and sent Magen down, that he's probably hunting all of them, and that Rakia needs help. And right then, one of Rakia's puddings shows up and is in a panic, being like, "Come help my friend! Come help my friend!"
I don't remember if it's exactly how it looked last time, but the new bitter Gav looks really sick. That they made a big deal about, and like it looks either always looked cool and didn't remember, or it looks extra cool now with the new way that it is. Or
My initial feelings, my initial thought, and this might not actually be true. It might just be because they were out in the sunlight for the first time, where the last time we really saw him, he was like in an underground parking lot. But I think that like the undersuit in the suit, so not the like plastic pieces, but the actual like bodysuit has more designs on it than it did last time. Either that or they're more prominent, like I said, because they're outside and it's shinier. But yeah, it looked good. It looked really good. It was appropriately menacing. And it looks good with that, that black Gavv and stuff too. I really, really love the conceit that the Gochizos will just go like put the SOS out for their humans or for their Kamen Rider rather. Like I love that.
That was one of my notes too. We knew they did it with Shoma in the beginning because everyone's want to be like, "Oh yeah, go follow him. Let me know what's going on." But the past couple episodes specifically, they all have full blown conversations with their Gochizos. They all go on little quests of like, "Okay, you go this way." This time, like Lassie came to get Timmy and was like, "Rakia is down the well. He's getting beat up by rocks and monsters." Blah blah blah.
Yep.
So it's cool that like I feel like they're the most living of living things that we've had, minus like Hopper always being around and being like Hopper all the time.
Yeah.
Like they all have their own full blown little living, breathing lives and everything else.
And they're not annoying. Like they figured out how to do like the little mascot without making it like so over the top annoying that I hated it. which is something.
At most they wink, or again the past couple episodes like talked more. Like later they kind of do a little cheer, and they've times here and there have been like, "No, use me," or "Tension," or "Crank," "Gummy,"
Yeah.
"Smash," whatever. Like they're more background dressing more times than not, and they just have their little 2 seconds here and there of like, pick me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they add some flavor without forcing themselves to be the focal point. and I like that. I also like, Toby, that we get some gosh darn riding in our Kamen Rider. Shoma hops on the bike and heads over to save Rakia. That was cool. Like we got to see some of that. Obviously, it's like, the bike that he's riding is a dirt bike more than a motorcycle, but I'll take what I can get, It looks cool still. And anytime he's on an actual any bike of some kind in this show is good, because then we're not getting that horrible CG four-wheeler thing that we get in the intro.
The Mario Kart.
Yeah. Could. I always remind myself it could be so much worse. But yeah, Shoma shows up for the fight, and as he does, I think it's around then the bitter Gavv is like really taunting Rakia of just like, "Well, yeah, you're the prototype and I'm the final version. Like clearly you're weaker than me. That makes sense." But as Shoma shows up, Nielv also shows up, and Nielv just spills the beans about who bitter Gavv is. He's like, "Oh yeah, he's our magnate, Magen." I thought that was pretty funny. Magen's like, "Why would you tell them my name?"
Now it's too real.
Nielv admits that he and Suga shared their research, so he didn't steal anything from Suga. They were freely sharing their research back and forth. And
I mean, they confirmed it, quote unquote, at least. But that was the vibe I always took anyway.
yeah, same.
Was that they were like, I'm on moon base and you're on Earth, and we're just gonna send stuff back and forth. But I always took it as like Sugar was a direct, or like Pidgey found an insane person on Earth of like, I want to be a crazy scientist too, and he was just a good target to be like, yeah, let's work together. You do your crazy shit, just share with me when you find things out. And Sugar was like, yeah, why not? Let's do this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean more like confirmed to Shoma. Like I don't think Shoma
Okay.
knew that information. But we as the viewer, I think we were pretty sure that was the relationship, and yeah, that seems to be the case. But really, before Nielv can say too much more, Bitter Gavv jumps into the fight. He's ready to take out both of the riders, and Shoma goes full ice cream mode here. But before we continue the fight, we do jump over because Sachika is now running to get some help from Uncle Dente. And she finds Dente on the ground. He has collapsed. And Toby, he's missing some teeth.
He was. He did look near death most of the episode.
He did.
So I was curious if your prediction from last week was going to be true or not. It does seem like, at least from this time, it seems like his current condition is more self-imposed than actually just like getting murdered.
It does, yeah.
I guess there's still time to change that, but at least for now, he seems safe in that kind-ish way.
It seems like he might go full self-sacrifice mode, because he's heading down that path here. He's literally ripping his own teeth out so that he can form a bottle that can contain the energy of 100 Gochizos, basically, is what he's doing. So I feel like anytime you start pulling your own teeth out to make something, you're not in a good place, you know?
It's possible.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll have Dente around for too much longer, but I've really come around on how they're writing this character, because originally it was a little weird because it's like, okay, he's like this fun-loving dude, but like he was kind of responsible for all this bad stuff, right? Like it was a weird vibe that they weren't holding him accountable at first for some of the stuff that he'd done, and they've done a complete 180 on that now, where he admits that he was responsible for it and wants out. They've tried to do like the pull him back in thing. He's refused, and he's kind of like self-sacrificed a couple times already. So now he's pulling his teeth out for the good guys. Before he was kind of like, he was saying basically like, oh, he's going to do whatever he can to help the good guys, and whether he, if he dies, whatever. So like he kind of is like proving himself, and he's owning his own role in the dark confections and stuff. So I really like sort of what they're doing with him right now.
He did his redemption arc.
Yeah, he got his redemption arc.
Now he can die in peace.
Exactly. Yeah. I also really love the conceit. I don't know if you remember, this has happened a couple times now. Whenever he makes something, he delivers it empty or like non-functional at first. Because when Hanto, I think, first got the thing from him, like it didn't work at first. They had to like fill it up, I think, if I remember right. And the same thing here. He delivers the empty bottle, but it still has to get filled up with Gochizo at the end of the episode here. So that's just apparently a thing with him. You just gotta. There's always some assembly required. But Sachika has basically adopted Dente, and yeah,
as she's adopted them all.
Exactly.
She loves all of her weird alien friends.
We cut back to the fight, and we're in full on ice fight mode. They made a giant ice block. They're fighting on top of it, and of course, like we always have with the ice cream, it melts eventually. So Shoma gets dehensioned when his ice cream melts and kind of runs out of time. Rakia also is kind of slumped off in the corner. He's been beat up to the point where he's dehensioned. Things aren't looking good for our heroes. And then Sachika shows up. And this is where Sachika delivers the bottle that Uncle Dente was making. They call it the Gachapod, or the like Gochizo pod.
It's a silly name. It worked decently enough for the an application that works great. I think as a item to sell to kids probably and own, it is kind of goofy just because it's basically a mason jar you put on your belt.
Yep.
And for the for all the other toys, you can play with the Gachizas, you can switch them out in your Gavv, you can do things with it. I don't know how you make this toy into a sellable toy because it's so small that Gachizas do their own magic and shrink and go in the little pot. But you really can't do anything like that with the real toy.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you make the toy cool to replicate what you would see on the show if that's the end game of the toy.
Yeah, I'm with you. From a storyline perspective, the toy's fine. I don't mind it in the show. It's a good escalation of things. But yeah, as a toy, it's it's gonna be a plastic mason jar that lights up. That's really all it can be. You can't really. I don't think you'd be able to put your Gochizo in it. Really, certainly not 100 of them.
You can make it big enough for one.
Yeah, maybe.
Where you can have one bounce around there if you wanted it to. But I just feel like for what it's supposed to be to what you're gonna get out of it, from purely the person that wants the toy to do fun things with the toy, you can't even put 2 Gochizos in it to make it all the Gochizos come in here and then we do crazy time.
Yeah.
You just literally can at max put in 1 or fill it with gummy beans, I guess, or gummy bears if you're going to put candy in your toy. But then I feel like that's how you fuck up your toy. That is probably going to cost $60 or $70 when you buy it, and that seems a little crazy to me.
I agree. I was trying to look up the toy to see if I could figure out how the toy actually functions. But I think that so every year in Kamen Rider, every season, we always get the driver and we always get the main gimmick items, which are the things you put in the driver or on the driver to henshin. And then they're always at some point, 3/4 of the way into the season, we start to get the larger gimmick items that attach to the driver in some different way, right? So last year we got that with stuff like the UFO Chemi, X-Rex I think was one of those like that. We got a few that just sort of plugged on the front of the driver.
Yeah.
This year, since the driver is literally a mouth and it looks like a mouth, the Gochizos are perfect. They're really fun little toys by themselves. They go in the mouth closes. That's a cool gimmick. Anything else like this bottle, the mouth isn't gonna close right. it's gonna look weird because you still have to plug it in to where the Gochizos go in the mouth, and then it just is this giant honking thing in front of a mouth, and it's not a driver that works as well for that as some of the other ones in years past. It looks like the actual toy opens, it's hinged, and the front panel of it kind of expands out. I'm trying to find a better picture here. Yeah, so you press the button down on the top and these 2 doors swing open on the sides, and then you see the hands and face of his orange form basically that's in it. And it looks like it can flip over somehow. It has some sort of rotation gimmick too. So yeah, you literally can't put anything in it. It is not a bottle. It is it's a plastic piece that flips open and then makes noise. That feels like a big miss to me. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Definitely.
And yeah, as I'm looking at it plugged into the toy, just like we see in the show, the mouth is just hanging open, trying to fit it all.
An easy to break toy. Those are the best.
Yeah, it seems like it might be. But nonetheless, we do get the Gochapod in the show. I thought there's some cool stuff with the fight here at this point, because originally, the pod doesn't work. We can't figure it out, and Shoma ends up catching the blade of Bitter Gavv's sword in his Gavv. There's this really cool shot where Bitter Gavv does this kind of upswing, and it looks like he's just slicing straight through Shoma. But then we see from the reverse angle, and it's in the sword. I thought that was really cool. But then, of course, as the fight continues, a Gochizo makes its way into the pod. Then they realize, oh, it's just got to get powered up. And we literally get 100 Gochizos to go in the pod. Nielv thinks, oh, well, this is made out of human material. It's not going to hold that much energy. But it's actually made out of Dente's teeth. So it holds everybody. And it can finally work now. He can actually henshin with it. And he does henshin, and he becomes, I don't actually know if we know, if I know the name of this form. But it's cool and it's orange.
And it's gummy as shit.
It really is, yeah. I'll see if I can find the actual official name here. But how are you feeling about this gummy orange form that we see at the end here?
Maybe a little too bulky, but I thought it was cool for what it was used for. I do think it's neat that like to go all the way back to the. It's more like a true escalation of his first form than I feel like other shows kind of do, because the first form was like baby gummy, and we saw like, oh, he got shot and a little clump flew off, or he got cut and like a little blob came off and stuff like that. So I think it is a cool final version, presumably, of what the old suit was. And obviously he's like the Hulk now. It's powerful as shit. He basically did like a giant uppercut and just smashed the boss out of the world kind of deal.
Yep. Yeah, I think the hands are pretty bulky and funny looking. But it's cool looking. I really, really, really like the helmet. And yeah, all the orange and stuff looks awesome. And yeah, he just seems ultra powerful. I really like that they introduce him by just having him crouch and walk through the tentacles that we saw earlier. Like those things look so crazy, and then he just like, nope, he just walks through them. And then yeah, his big finish is just basically a giant punch with his big foam rubber hands. So yeah, he looks pretty cool. He smashes through Magen, and yeah, that's pretty much all we see of that form. So that'll be, I'm sure, our big finisher move from now on. Probably replacing ice cream for on occasion. And yeah, I think, like I said, I do think it looks really cool, and I think that it works for what it is, with the giant hands and stuff for sure. It fits into the gummy theme immensely. And we talk about the death of Gochizos 100 at a time now.
No, they're all just going. So it's funny because obviously this was supposed to be a big fight. Like, hey, it's tough. We have a shot if we go max form here. But like when he eats a bag of like gummy bears, as an example, like one Gochizo comes out of that.
Yeah.
So from like purely like the RPG farming aspect of it, he's gonna have to do like a lot of eating and a lot of work to get back the 100-some Gochizos he needs to make this be a thing again.
Totally. Yeah. Apparently the form is called just over mode, is what I'm seeing. Let me double check that. Gavv over mode. Yeah.
I think it did say that. I think at one point in the, now that you mentioned it, I think the subtitles had over mode.
I think that's right. Yeah. yeah. We're full on into Gochizo genocide at this point, and they're just okay with it. Let's do it. Bring it on. Which is fun. So I guess as like a sum up here, I really enjoyed Magen as like this like Terminator-esque villain, and it seems like he might be dead at this point, but I kind of hope not. I want to see more of him, because it was cool just him coming to Earth and just trying to like mop the floor with the riders, and that was his only mission. But I suspect we will see Nielv sick more people on the riders as the episodes go on now. I think that's maybe the new dynamic is Nielv is just going to be powering random people up and sending them off or something. We'll see. Toby, that is the end of the episode, but we did get an email about this episode. We can jump over and talk about that now.
I love email.
Our email address is cast@commonwritersucks.com. Once again, that is cast@commonwritersucks.com. Our email comes in from our friend Shade. Shade says, dead relatives are... No, that's the wrong email. Shade says, can 100 Gochizos defeat one Gorilla Granute? Are you up on this internet trend, Toby?
I heard the 1 versus 100 bullshit was going around again today. A different friend mentioned like, oh, there's lots of stuff going around.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like going around again or if it's just like continuing to be a popular topic. It's, everyone's talking about it.
So I'm pretty sure it's coming back around again because at some point today or in the past day or two, Scott Steiner redid the Steiner Math promo for him fighting the gorillas.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like it has to be brand new.
That's awesome.
But we've come full circle with that part.
We have. Shade says, hello everybody, and welcome back to another week of Hanto getting beat up again. Some pretty interesting stuff happened in the past week, but a not very cool thing also happened, and I'd like to bring awareness to it. Okay, so not so fun stuff. The big bad orange man's tariffs on China just went into effect, and a lot of toku toy related parties are suffering the consequences right now. One person who's taking it extra hard right now is Taka from Kotetsu Toys Japan. Shade sends a translated tweet from Taka, which says, eBay officially announced that even if it's dispatched from any countries, tariffs of, quote, made in China is 145% from May 2nd. eBay said this, so it's real. It's been a long 10 years, but there's no way to avoid this. My store is destroyed by the President of the United States. Shade says, if you guys don't remember him, Taka is a Japanese toku toy store owner that makes videos talking about toku and such. For a long time, he's been a very trustworthy source to get toku merch straight from Japan, especially for people who live in America. Now that everything is ruined, Taka's store could possibly be facing closure in the near future. So to every listener out there that lives outside the U.S., I hope you guys will try to support Taka's store to help keep his business going for as long as possible. In general, support small businesses, please. Yeah, that's a great message, Shade. In all walks of life, I think that's a very fair thing to say is support small businesses when you can. Obviously, times are hard for everybody. Money's tight for everyone. At least that seems like it's the case around here. At least everything's more expensive, and it's not always in the cards to go support a small business. But when you can, it's nice to be able to do that because things like this happen where there's massive geopolitical stuff at play, nonsense I'll say at play that affects like one dude who runs a tiny business in Japan. Like it shouldn't even be an overlap here, but like gonna potentially lose his entire livelihood because of all this stupid stuff going on. I've seen already some because a lot of my hobbies overlap with things that come from China and Japan, I feel like. So I saw on Reddit people were posting where they had ordered those like retro handhelds, like the game machines, like the Retroid Pockets and stuff. People had ordered those like a long time ago, and they'd come in now to the States finally, like their shipment came in, and they were getting emails about like, you owe $400 in tariffs now. Like, Jesus. I saw someone ordered a synthesizer, and it came in, and I think it was a pretty expensive synth. But again, they owed over $400 in tariffs, which was more than the cost of the synthesizer to begin with. So things are all wacky and insane right now. And yeah, there's not a good answer. Hopefully it all ends soon. I don't know. There's nothing more to say than that. But yeah, support your small businesses when you can. And yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to get any fun Japanese toys for a while. Toby,
you have to go back to winning your Beyblades from the mobile game.
Yeah, I gotta get my Beyblade. No, even those are gonna be tariffed. I'm sure now. There's some crazy stuff. I'm gonna have to go back to buying like American Beyblades like an idiot.
I just placed a big order from cdjapan.com right before May started, so I think I'm safe for my last big purchase.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I love doing the like I'm gonna order a whole bunch of video games from Japan and have them all show up and play them and stuff. And um, yeah, all that's kind of thrown into disarray right now. Shade goes on and says, "Okay, now it's time for some fun news." So into fun stuff. Shade says Tetsuya Iwanaga, aka Dan Kuroto from Kamen Rider Xaid, is coming to the U.S. for Anime New York City. He has a message for New York City, which is receive the blessing of God gratefully. So I guess if you want to meet Dan Kuroto, you can get to New York City, Toby, and you can make all your dreams come true.
Him, like most celebrities, I wouldn't know what to do with.
I wouldn't either.
Like,
yeah.
if I was there, I'd meet him, but would you just say like
You just get a picture. I like
you
your
were
show.
a cool villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all you
You
do.
were a guy I watched.
I have met some celebrities from comic conventions and stuff here and there. And yeah, it always is a weird experience of like, you say hello and like maybe you're lucky that you can get like a little bit of chit chat in, right? I can reference something that's happening or like whatever. Like maybe there's something you could like have a little bit of small talk with, but it's a little strange. When I met Randy Orton, the wrestler, I think I like asked him about carrying he was like the world champion at the time. I think I asked him about carrying the world championship on a plane. I think I asked him if like, oh, do you bring that in your carry on? He probably thought I was an idiot. When I met the Young Bucks, I took the opportunity to make fun of someone who was in their panel earlier. So they probably think I'm a mean girl. I don't know. I'm just it's always going to be awkward. You're going to think back on your experiences with people like that and like, why did I say that? So yeah, you can have that experience now with Dan as well. He tweeted out, "I, Dan Kuroto, have decided to bless New York City with my divine presence. Fans, worshippers, and worthy humans, prepare yourselves. Let the bugsters multiply."
I guess I never solved that problem from 7 years ago in Xaid.
Yeah.
I was promised cures. I watched the true ending, which was better, which was stupider than the real ending. But there was a lot of promises there of one day cracking the medical case or removing the virus or whatever the hell I was supposed to take away from that. And it just sounds like it's not true now.
Shade says that that message was fully in English too, and he taught himself English on his YouTube channel and everything. He's pretty cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I just went to the tweet. Yeah, in English. That's neat. So you could actually go and have a conversation with Dan. That's cool.
I mean, that does make it better. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, you wouldn't come all the way over here for a con if there was a heavy language barrier.
That's true.
That seems
like
a bunch of the smaller Japanese bands have been doing little like US tours and stuff. And like I showed you the pictures from some of those creepy ass meet and greets.
Yeah.
But like that seems different because at least you're listening to music mainly, and then the takeaway is, oh, if you see them after the show or like pay for the picture thing, I'm sure it's some that might know more English, some might know less, but it's probably still a weird language barrier. But I feel like if you're going to a convention and you're specifically like going to pay money to go meet the person in that type of situation, I would have a higher expectation of I can conversate with you and not just like I'll nod and say hi or thanks, and then you'll say thanks, and that'd be it. So that checks out for what I would hope for, at least.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair, but I'm gonna link you this. This is the guest list for Anime NYC. I want you to open that and look at the guests of honor, and I want to note to you that
Those are all anime girls?
It shows 8 people, and only 2 of them are real life humans. 5 of them are anime girls, and 1 of them is a crudely drawn rooster. Okay, when these anime girls go to the con, are they just photos of the anime girls? Are they on an iPad screen? What is the logistics for these anime girls showing up here?
I feel like it's just the voice actors, but they show the characters.
Is that it?
Because I get emails from the Philadelphia Comic Con. It's not like the official one. It's just the bigger one around here. And I feel like the other day when I looked, when they do the guess, it's the same thing. Like if you know them from playing a cartoon, they show the cartoon and not the voice actor. But that still seems, when you think about the opposite side of that transaction, when you go meet them, you're just meeting the person that you don't know that you're meeting. Because if you only ever know the cartoon person and you never actually double checked what the human looked like doing the voice, it just seems like a weird disconnect. But I do see though the OG Green Ranger is here, so nice. that's like a double.
So that is, I agree. What you're saying is true most of the time. Of like, it's the voice actor, but sometimes they'll show like the character that they're playing. However, the ones that are in the guest of honor are VTubers. So like from HoloLive. So like they're like the characters that never show their real face. They're only their digital representation.
Oh, you're meeting a computer screen then.
I guess. You have to be, right?
Well, because like, in one of the many Yard podcast things, like Ludwig said he met some mouse VTuber person. I forget which.
Iron Mouse.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So when Iron Mouse goes to things, she is like, what I've seen of clips of her at least, is she's like on a Segway with an iPad on the top, basically. So like I think she's controlling it, and she can like drive around and stuff with some help. Like there has to be someone sort of there guiding it. But yeah, she actually is like essentially that. It's an iPad on a Segway. So I'm assuming.
So yeah, I feel like that's where you're gonna meet.
Yeah.
Like some.
That's a whole vibe, I guess.
And to wrap this all the way back around, Vinny did that on Giant Bomb like 15 years ago. So he was a trailblazer.
See? They were ahead of their time. They really were. And yeah, I see the Green Ranger here too, like you said. All right, Anime NYC. It's the hotness apparently. Back to the email from Shade. Shade says last week was Golden Week in Japan, so Kamen Rider Gavv held a stage show for the occasion. The stage show had something to do with a tea party, so the new exclusive form for the stage event was Kamen Rider Gavv Party Scone. That's silly. The form is ridiculous looking. I will attempt to share it with you here if I can get my computer to actually work. But Shade says, I bet some British fans out there are very happy, unless you're a fan of Marshmallow, because that suit is gone now. Because it looks like they used it to make the party scone form. We also got some clips of the talk show part. Hanto and Rakia reacting to the scene where they got stuck together on stage. We get some of Sachika talking about her character and how it doesn't fit the Kamen Rider heroine stereotype and is instead similar to more of a mentor role. Hanto would like to take the role of heroine instead. And she says, and finally, Josh, you'll like this one. Shoma accidentally referred to Hanto as his boyfriend. See? See? There you go. Then after we got a sneak peek at the Kamen Rider Gavv summer movie. So I'm not going to watch that. I'm going to be surprised when that comes out. We don't know what the movie's about yet, but we do know that it features Shoma wearing a normal shirt for the first time. Groundbreaking. Next, Shade goes into some of the producer's blog tidbits. First off, producer Naomi Takebi talks about the creation of the new form for the episode. When they asked what should we do to power Gavv up, someone suggested, what if the Gochizos combined like a Sentai robot? And in the end, they ended up with the Gachapod, which is filled with 100 Gochizos. She talks about how the story doesn't have to work around pre-designed toys as much anymore because of the new filming schedules. Quote, until now, the design has progressed according to the release schedule, so we often create stories with designs that were already completed. It's like we put the new form on a whiteboard and had a meeting to discuss what kind of story should we tell to get to this form. Since the filming schedule for the series is much earlier than usual, we've been able to advance the story and design almost at the same time. There's been more back and forth of people saying things like, this is the kind of story, so please do the design and record the audio like this. The synchronization rate between the story and the toys has improved. For example, the sound of Ram's Jelly custom includes a sound that sounds like a heartbeat. The mechanism for disappearing was decided on the set beforehand, and was reflected in the toys. That's cool. So that's a good benefit of the recording schedule changing, is now it's not just forming a show around these pre-existing toys. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Next, they talk a bit about Magen, or Magen, the actor who plays Magen's human form. In this episode is the Japan Action Enterprise. It's where Toei got a lot of their stunt actors. Okay, so the guy came from the Japan Action Enterprise. He also has played a bunch of background characters like random doctor or cop here and there. So that's exciting. So that guy was a legit, knew how to do his own stunts then. Rakia mentioned on Twitter that he had back pain during the filming of the fight scene. I guess he's been suffering from back pain for a while, so he quote, died in agony from the impact of the landing. The scene where Nielv got really goofy during his speech was ad-libbed by the actor. Apparently, he talked about doing this with the person who wrote the blog, who thought the directors would like it, but then he did it anyway, or thought the directors wouldn't like it, but then he did it anyway, and the director liked it. And finally, the new power-up for the episode is the Gochi Pod, a jar of candy. The Gochi Pod is completed with 100 Gochizos in it. And then Shoma transforms into Kamen Rider Gavv Overmode. Yeah, so that is the name, or just Overgav. The Shade says it's the, quote, alleged final form for Kamen Rider Gavv. The blog mentions the name Overgav came from over calories, but that's not a real word, so I don't know if that's true or not. That's pretty great. There's some cool behind-the-scenes shots of where they're throwing up all the leaves for the very final big blow, the big punch scene. That's always fun to see how they make that stuff happen.
Never supposed to see how the hot dogs are made. And the show sure shows it a lot.
It does. Shade says that's it for the blog. The person who wrote the blog also posted their recipe for kashiwamochi for Children's Day at the end. So there you go. Apparently, kashiwamochi is the reason why Shoma and Sachika were working on a koi flag in the episode. Shade says, that's it for me today. I'm probably going to go watch the Thunderbolts or something. Gotta see what all the fuss is about. Okay, bye. Yeah, Toby, have you seen this hype around the Thunderbolts movie?
I mean, I've saw commercials for it. That's all I really dabbled into this once again. Ninth wave of Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
I've been out of Marvel for a really long time, but this one might drag me back in. I've been hearing it's good. I'm a little interested. I think I might go see it. They did this marketing thing where the movie was called Thunderbolts, like with an asterisk, and then it came out for a weekend. And when the opening weekend was over, they started putting up new posters where now the movie is called New Avengers. So the asterisk was like, oh, they're not really the Thunderbolts, they're the New Avengers.
Interesting.
I don't really know what that means in terms of the story of the movie, but I know new posters went up. So that's gotta be very confusing for theaters who, are trying to sell tickets to a movie that now just had its name changed. I don't really know how that works, but I guess it is what it is. So Shade, thanks very much for the email. Once again, cast@kamenridersucks.com if you want to send an email address. If you want to send an email to us, that's the email address. And whatever you want to send along, we would be happy to read on the show if it's not, insane. All right. So that is, I think, going to wrap us up here for today. Toby, any final thoughts?
No, the only thing I was really thinking of today as we were once again talking, I keep forgetting how far into the show we are.
Yeah.
That Dente's not going to die. There's plenty of show left. Or, oh, it's crazy that Shoma just got his, what, at least for now, is probably final form. And I was like, this seems early. And then I thought about it. And I was like, I guess this isn't really that early. And then just, for whatever reason, the timeline of the show is fucked in my head where I feel like it's newer still than it is.
You're just having so much fun. You don't realize how deep you are.
I guess so.
Yeah, we're in the final arc. They made that very clear, and things are we still got some runway. There's still going to be some episodes, but yeah, we're progressing towards the end pretty rapidly here. These shows, last close to a year, but sometimes it feels a lot quicker than that. And sometimes it feels excruciatingly slower than that. Looking at you, O's.
Yeah, fuck that show.
Toby, why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's at Life of Tobes. On YouTube, it's Tobes Plays. And on Retro Achievements, it's Tobes Plays as well.
You can find me on Blue Sky at meek.lol. You can follow the show on Blue Sky at commonwritersucks.com over there. And of course, please review the show, upvote it, thumbs it up, subscribe, whatever mechanism you could do, whatever platform you're listening on. That's a big help for us. And just gets us in the ears of more people, which is always cool. Builds a bigger cult. We always want more bodies. You want to get in on the ground floor, and you want to invite some friends. So then you're higher ranking. That's how it works. So check that out. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/thecommentwriters for some bonus content. And some new stuff coming there soon, as we are going to be embarking on a new show here eventually. And you can help us pick it if you sign up now. All right. So that is going to do it for us for this week. We'll be back next time to talk about Kamen Rider Gavv episode 34. But until then, have a great week, everybody. Peace.